Okay, so which bike am I out on today? That's the question. You can tell by the smoke. You know what I'm on. Right, shut this down. Now I'm still doing a test on the sound again, using a DJI Action 4. This is a old chestnut, but when I recorded something the other day on it, I noticed everything was way too loud and distorted. So I had a search around and found that I may have to adjust the gain. So that is what I've done. I've reduced it to -9 for the time being. And I'll see how this comes out. I mean, obviously, if it's not distorted, I can turn it up when I'm editing it. So, whereas some people go out on mutters to go and buy strawberries, the present Mrs. Little requires cheese. Normally, I go off to Sissinghurst Market on a Friday, buy eggs, cheese, vegetables, fruit there, all very good value. But the cheese man has had the audacity to take 10 days off and go to Greece. So we've run out of cheese. We've got plenty of cauliflowers, because we're a little bit partial to cauliflower cheese. By the way, I heard somebody talking about a recipe to just tweak cauliflower. In fact, they were making pasta, which I loathe. I loathe pasta. Well, they were making pasta with a cheese sauce. So you could do the same with cauliflower and add a little bit of Marmite to it. It's supposed to be really good. Anyway, we're out of cheese, so I am now going off to what is arguably the best farmers market in the UK, in Stroud. And going and getting some cheese from them. See if they got a bit of other stuff as well. Maybe some tartiflette. Maybe some bread. We'll see. Got my big tank bag, which last time that was used was when I went to Scotland. So I can put my shopping in there. So, this morning I was out for a ride on the YB, minding my own business, actually on my way to do a bit of shopping, and this happened. Oh, bastard. You could have had me then, mate, I tell you. Just be careful around it. Do you live here?
Yes.
I was going to say it's dangerous. All these roads are dangerous. Yeah. Well, what do you make of that? What do you make of that? Dear, oh dear. You see, this is I mean, I'd sort of half excuse them if they didn't live here, but living here, you should know what these roads are like. And, you know, you can imagine, if you see that on screen, my heart was in my mouth then. Oh, God. Right, I'm just settling down now. I was going to tell you another tale of being a tour guide. I try not to be too long-winded about it, but there's a fair bit to this one, actually. So I worked with a guy. We didn't actually physically work together, but he used to give me work, and occasionally I gave him work. And this particular job, I had to pick up this family. I say family, it was mother and father, two adult sons, and a daughter-in-law. And the mother and father and the eldest of the sons lived in New York City, and the other couple lived in Vermont, actually. Couldn't get much more different than that. So I went and picked. Before I picked them up, my mate who gave me the work said, "These couple, this job might be quite difficult. The guy is always ringing me up and asking me this and asking me that, and wanted me to confirm all the details of this, that, and the other thing. He's quite pedantic about it, and what he's gonna be like, I really don't know." This little bit of hill here is the steepest in the Cotswolds. You can't see it, I know, but it is really steep. If you meet somebody coming up or going down, particularly in a car, it's a little bit nasty. So whoops, forgot to, my gears are changing the opposite way on this one. It was right at the end of when he was negotiating with him, and said, and this guy said, "And when you pick us up, Steve, you will do this and you will do that." And Steve said, "No," he said, "It won't be me picking you up. You're going to be taken by one of my other drivers, Rob." So he seemed a little bit put out about this. He said, "Well, who is this Rob?" And Steve said, "Oh, he's a very experienced tour guide. You'll get on with him just great. Don't worry about it." And they said, "Well, we better hide, or there's going to be complaints." So Steve told me all this, so as I would be... Uh-oh. That's nice of him. So, sorry. Negotiating this. So he said to Steve, "Well, you better not give me any old tour guide." He said, "I expect the best." So Steve said, "Don't worry, you'll be absolutely fine with Rob." So anyway, I went and picked them up in London, and I thought to myself, I'm going to have a bit of fun here. And he said to me, as we've been driving along, we said hello, and I introduced myself and everything. And he says, "So Rob, how long have you been doing this?" So I immediately feigned huge nervousness and said, "Oh, well, actually," and I said, this is my very first tour. Steve told me not to tell you that, but I think it's only right I should tell you. Well, I looked in my mirror and the look of absolute horror on their faces when I said that. And then I said, what's more, I said, this is Steve's brand new van. It was actually my van, but I said, this is Steve's brand new van and I'm nervous to hell. I'm going to damage it in some way. So anyway, there was commotion going on in the back. They were all looking at each other and thinking, oh my God, what have we done here? Anyway, I turned and glanced at them and I said, don't worry, I know what you said to Steve. This isn't really my first tour. It's my second. No, I said, this isn't really my first tour. So I've been doing this for the last 10 years. So, and they then calmed down, relaxed and laughed and all the rest of it. And actually, of course, that broke the ice as to what we were going to, how the rest of the 10 days or so was going to go. So the first place we went to was Sissinghurst Gardens, which is a National Trust, absolutely stunning gardens down in Sussex. I parked in the car park and I thought, well, I've been around here loads of times, I don't need to go in here again. And I parked in the car park. It was a lovely day actually, and it was about 11 o'clock in the morning. And I told them where to go, and I said, I'll be here when you come back. Take your time, spend as much time as you want. And then I thought, well, I think I'll go and have a cup of coffee in the cafe on the way down to the gardens. So as I got to the coffee shop, who should be there but the customers? And I said, oh, I'm going to have a cup of coffee as well. Not a bad idea. So they got in behind me, and I picked up a scone and some jam and clotted cream. And they said, oh, what's that? And I told them what it was. I said, you need to have this. No, we don't want that. So I said, well why? They said, well, we just don't like it. I said, you don't like a scone? Well, yes. You don't like jam? Yes, of course we like jam. Well, I said, what is it you don't like? Well, we don't want this clotted cream. We don't like that. So I said, well, it's up to you. I said, you can have that with the jam and scone on its own if you want, but you'll enjoy it more with the cream on it. No, we don't want that. Anyway, I said, do you mind if I join you? I sat down outside with them in the sun, and they said, I started preparing my scone in the Cornish way, actually. So you put the cream on, the jam on first, and then you put the cream on top. Oh, she said, that looks nice. So I said, well, it is nice. And she said, can I taste it? So I said, well, have you had, are you on statins? I said, this is the essential thing. If you're on statins, I'll let you have some, but I'm not going to take responsibility otherwise. I said, because this is very rich indeed. So I gave her some. She said, oh, this is nice. I said, well, I thought you didn't like cream. She said, no, I just didn't like the sound of the clotted bit. I said, well, that's what it does to your arteries if you're not on statins. Anyway, we all had a laugh. They carried on, and they looked at the gardens, and then we ended that night over in Canterbury. Now, if I can find it, I'll find a photo of the amount of luggage these 5 people brought, because it absolutely filled the back of the van. I can normally take enough luggage for 9 people, but between them, this road is terrible, but between them, they brought enough luggage for 9 people themselves. And I said, what the hell have you brought all this luggage for? You're only here for 10 days. Well, they said, we didn't know what the weather was going to be like. So I said, well, why didn't you look online? You can get a 10-day weather forecast, which is pretty reliable online. Well, it was reliable till this year. And they said, oh, we didn't think of that. We thought we'd just bring everything. Well, I mean, literally, I was packed to the ceiling with their luggage. Anyway, as things developed, it became clear that it wasn't the man that was being pedantic. He was simply acting under instructions, if you know what I mean. And he was just doing the bidding of his wife, and we all began to get on extremely well. They were basically lawyers from New York, and the son that was there on his own. He'd had some problems. He'd lost a mobile phone. He'd lost an iPhone on the way to the airport in New York, and then we went into Bath, and somebody pickpocketed him and pinched his iPhone in Bath. So he was in a right state, worrying about how he was going to keep in touch with the office and everything. And actually, there was nothing we could do. He lost it, and that was it. But then he managed to slam his mother's fingers in the door of the van. I mean, can you imagine? She absolutely screamed in pain, and fortunately it didn't do any permanent damage, but it must have really hurt her. I suppose the other thing was, well, they didn't all see entirely eye to eye, and I'm not sure if I can. There was a religious issue. I'm not going to go into details, but the family were of one religion, and the daughter-in-law was not. And she was a midwife, working as a midwife in Vermont. But she was also expecting a baby herself, and she was determined to. There was a little bit of conflict, I would say, there. I mean, actually, they all were fine, really, but I just got a feeling there was a bit of a conflict there. And she had decided she was going to have the child at home, which puts the matriarch of the group into great worry and despair. And I suppose you can understand that. She was worried. It was her first grandchild. Anyway, I kept in touch with this lady, and luckily everything went according to plan. No problems. Baby born. As far as I know, there are more babies since then. And actually, I haven't heard from them from a while. I hope they don't watch motorcycling videos. But it was quite an experience. We had quite a laugh in the end, actually, and I teased them quite a lot, as I do. So, right, so we've come through Minchinhampton, and we're now going down onto the road in Brimscombe, basically Stroud. Very pretty over here, actually. Stroud has, if you can see the view from here, 5 valleys. It's post-industrial, this is, so they've turned a lot of the old industrial buildings into living accommodation. But it's on dreary days, Stroud does not look quite as beautiful as it does today. So back to the market. So as I was saying earlier, we don't have markets like they do in France. I mean, okay, we have one fantastic market in Borough Market in London, which is open most of the time, every day. But the markets that go on in towns are not what they used to be, and they've turned into sort of people selling second-hand stuff, and that's not so nice. But this market is selling food. Oh, did I get through there? I think I did. Yeah, this is food, fruit, veg, meat, bread, cheese, dairy, eggs. I've got to try and find somewhere to park. So the market is up there on the right, where I'll do some filming there in a minute. I think I'm going to have to go around here and up the side. Although I don't live far away, I don't know Stroud really well. But the mirror is wiggling around here. I'm going to park here, I think. Although I'm not allowed to. So I'm not supposed to park here on double yellow lines, but I've put my coat over the back of my bike, hiding the number plate, so if somebody thinks they're going to book me, they're not allowed to actually touch the bike. So I'm going to leave this stuff here. I've got my shopping bag, and I'm going to go off to the market. There we are. Busy morning. The market is round the corner. There's the trees down here. Vegetables. There's a lot more just down the other bit. But this is where the cheese is. There we are. Lovely. I'm looking for some sort of strong, tasty cheddar, please.
Yeah, so we've got our extra mature cheddar, just over here. I can give you a little taste of it.
Can you? That tastes good. Yeah. More than that. 2 of them, please. I'm organising a cheese event. Looks like it, doesn't it? Cheese in the bag. Go down this way if I can. See the hills outside? Lovely.
Although I always think they'll be
Bumped into some neighbours of mine. Is he playing the dustbin lid? Nice looking birds. Whoops, sorry.
Just getting some sweet. Shall I just let you? Well, I'm going to go to my grandma's.
Nice. Flowers.
the same as the book I've got.
Well, the tarty flat books. Oh no, we have got it. That's good. Lovely.
Reblochon cheese, garlic, wine, onions, all good, yes. That comes with that and salad and pickles for £1. This is the raclette. This is grilled and then scraped.
I don't think we need bread. Is that nice? Pastas. Those cakes. Alright, well there we are then. Back to the bike. What started as a very chilly morning has turned into a warm day. Well, I got back. Everything's still here. No sign of a ticket. So I've got my cheese and I've got my tartiflette, which we'll either have for lunch or for dinner tonight. So I'm going to ride home now. Let's hope for no incidents on the way home. The usual mode of starting. Gotta watch out for these people here. Don't want an accident. I'll just turn this off for a little bit, because this is all a little bit boring. Remember, just coming into Nailsworth here, and I remember just ahead of us where it says Cocoa Chic. That was a pub. And I remember going into that pub when the present Mrs. Little was in hospital having our first child, now 40, Tom. And I went in that pub and met my mum and dad, who had taken their caravan up onto the common here so they could go and see Bev. No longer a pub, unfortunately. A lot of pubs have closed, and COVID accelerated it even more. I always remember I was trying to work out how much fuel I'd got on reserve on this bike before I took it to Ireland, and I came up this road, ran out of fuel, and started pushing it back to go to the garage, and a guy picked me up and took me down there. Talking of pubs, this pub is called the Weybridge. Obviously has some kind of history. Also known as the 2-in-1 pub. You can go in there, and I mean, this is going back. It was the 2-in-1 pub 40 odd years ago when I first started coming here. And basically what they serve up is a pie, half of which might be, for instance, steak in ale, and the other half, shall I say, was cauliflower cheese or something like that. Very nice, actually. We don't go there very often. Ought to go there a bit more often, really. I'm still being careful not to thrash the pants off this thing, because strictly speaking, it's still running in. I think I've only done a couple of 100 miles since I had the top end rebuilt of the engine, and somebody said with a 2-stroke like this, all you need to do is run it in over, or break it in, some people call it, over a tank full of fuel. Other people say you should do the full 500. So I'm probably gonna go in between that. Just coming into a little village now called Avening. I say village. Well, there is a pub there now, but all these little places would have had shops and stuff at post office at one time. Sadly, not anymore. There's the pub there, right ahead of us. The Bell. Alright, this is a tricky little crossing I'm just going up to here, because it's a hairpin bend, but I'm going to go straight across it. So this is pretty steep. You can't see it, unfortunately, but it is. So this is going to bring us out in a minute to that place where I was nearly knocked off. And it just goes to show you don't have to be going around Ireland or Scotland or whatever, miles away from home. I reckon I was 2 miles from home there. And frankly, I could have been on any bike. This one, the Bonneville, the XSR 125, he'd have hit me just the same. I imagine he got an earful from his wife. And we've all done it, let's face it, nobody's perfect when it comes down to driving. But I will show you in a minute where it is pretty clear. And I mean, if they live there, they know the rule. They know that road anyway. They probably use it every day. Let's hope they don't do what they did there, because the road that I was on is a very much busier road than the road they were coming out of. So they know how much traffic goes up and down there. I'm just amazed, really. Well, it's turned into a beautiful morning, I have to say. Or I say morning, it's lunchtime. So I don't know whether present Mrs. Little is willing to wait for the tarty fleck to warm up. It takes about 20 minutes on 160. Or whether we'll just have some bread and cheese and have the tarty fleck for tea. Or should I say for dinner. Right, we're just coming up to that ominous spot now. Right, so where they see that white car coming round, that's where I was coming from. And the road right ahead is a minor road. And as you can see, there was a line very clearly, and this is where you're supposed to come out here. Not sure whether to show that to Mrs. Little or not. I must say, without tempting fate, this engine is sounding pretty sweet. Certainly doesn't go anything like as well as the 125. So this bit of road going up here to the right now goes up to Duchy Home Farm, which is the part of the Duchy of Cornwall. Was under the auspices of Charles, and now it's William, who is the Duke of Cornwall. But this farm is where Prince Charles, as he was then, did a lot of his organic experimentation. Not very nice if you're a learner here, is it? Yeah. Right. Well, I think I'm going to shut the camera off now. Nearly home. So, until the next time, it'll be a few weeks before this video goes up, but I might show the near miss before in the next few days.